in Pet Cemetery. Don't want to live my life again. The best part is though, ancient goblins and wallows. That's my favorite line in that Ramones song.
Ryan's been listening to the Ramones, which I don't know. Like, that's the one thing I think we've talked about before. Like, I guess I don't let my kids watch a lot of TV shows or movies that are outside their age, but
music doesn't seem to matter that
they
much.
definitely listen to a lot of music. Maybe we shouldn't. Like, Ariel was singing Brick House the other day.
Well, I just remember one time I was at your house to play D&D or something, and Jamie was like yelling at Lily, your dog, and he's like, sit down, be humble. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's like a radio hit. You probably could listen to Kendrick Lamar, he's got a good message in there, but then I was like, definitely there's a line in that song though where he's like, put your pussy on my taste buds.
Well, Ryan has his own playlist for his iPad, and he definitely has like Paper Planes but MIA on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's
Super Freak.
He's got to learn early, you know, that the international government just doesn't respect you anymore. And kill poor people. Yeah, that all makes sense to me. That all tracks. I did watch the Pet Sematary remake. It's not very good.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Yep, but they did have a cover of the Ramones song by the LA like bougie rock band.
Was also not good.
Also not quite as good as the Ramones, but it reminded me of that song. So then I watched the Ramones music video for Pet Sematary. And it was just, yep, perfect. This is the 80s. I love it.
You should have watched Rock,
like your high school. That movie?
Yeah.
That they're in for like 5 minutes.
And what's his face in it? Our old buddy from, I can't remember his name. Gremlins and,
oh, yeah. Dick Miller.
Dick Miller.
Dick
Good job.
Miller. Old buddy Dick Miller, classic character actor from cheese 80 movies. Oh. Yeah, so that we're gonna watch Chopping Mall next time.
Chopping Mall.
Yeah. But this is Space Force. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kyle. Oh, no, I mean, I'm Sean.
Wait. The consummate drunk uncle.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you think of, like, I don't really drink anymore, but when you think of, like, oh, yeah, drunk uncle, you know, like when you listen to Man Man, and it sounds like your sad uncle drinking and crying. Like, that's me. That's my aesthetic. That's my vibe.
I don't know if my children see you as the drunk uncle, but fair enough.
No, probably more like he plays video games with us.
It's that weird, goofy uncle.
He never grew up. Yeah, also, I mean, Macho Man Randy Savage 2, looking for my Miss Elizabeth.
I want to fall in love with a beautiful woman only to have her stolen away and die in like a crack den with Lex Luger there.
Lex Luger. Yeah,
Lexi.
Her life was pretty tragic. And then he didn't do too well after her anyways. Remember when WCW, when he was trying to do like a pimp kind of angle?
Lex Luthor did?
No, Macho Man.
Oh, Macho Man?
Like, what? Remember he'd come out with, like, ladies?
Oh, yeah, and he had, like, that huge boa and shit.
Yeah, and, like, a big, shitty fur coat that looked like Spice Girls attire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was weird. Speaking of wrestling, though, it's time for Vince McMahon to die.
You think?
Yeah, he's gone too far.
He went too far about 30 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just tired of him, you know what I mean? Like, he's... When the revolution comes, he's target number one. I'm going to Stamford, Connecticut. I'm taking you out, Vince McMahon. I like to imagine I'll have to fight my way through some of his loyal wrestlers.
All three of them.
To get to Vince McMahon. Yeah, I don't think anyone's like loyal to Vince McMahon. The Undertaker liked him a lot for some reason.
I feel like the Undertaker probably just likes everybody.
I think the Undertaker might be like a shitty redneck anyway.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And like he loves Jesus. And
the Undertaker loves Jesus?
Yeah, and he's probably like no abortions, which is... abortions for everybody. Mandatory abortions for the far right. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of politics though, so let's talk about Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah, so dark. Starts off with some amazing narration. You know how I love narration in movies.
Mm-hmm. At least this one's kind of like storybook though. It kind of...
Here's the thing. I actually don't think the narration is supposed to be there. Because I went and checked, and normally I don't do any research, but it bothered me enough that I looked. Originally, what are their names? Like the Sky Seas, the Xerxes?
The Sexies.
Sexies,
yeah. I think it's the Skexies, but it's the Sexies.
They did not speak in the original cut of the movie. They actually spoke a language that was a linguist, Jim Henson had a linguist make up, which is a mix of ancient Greek and Egyptian, and there was no subtitles. It was all just told visually. So I have a feeling the narration is not supposed to be there.
Oh, think you're right, because I skimmed through like the Wikipedia page after I watched it, and I feel like I remember reading that they had to, like the recording narration was hard because they had to match the pacing of the puppets that had already been performed with, mouthing the
From
different
what I
language.
read from like one of the visual artists work on this movie is that Jim Henson originally wanted this to be a much more visual storytelling.
Well,
and if you look at the puppet scenes, like with the sexies, take out all the dialogue, and
I mean, they
you
don't.
can definitely follow what's going on.
Yeah, they don't even need dialogue,
Right?
Because they don't really say anything.
I feel like it's another one of those situations where this movie could have been a lot better if the studio didn't get their nose in a twist.
Well, was it the studio though, or maybe it was like Frank Oz, or
from what I understand, it's test audiences. They showed.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
don't question Frank Oz.
Well, he's the one that insisted that Kira have a little dog pal.
But you don't like little dog pals?
What's his name? Fizgrick? Fizgrick. He's all right. His design's really cool.
A lot of designs in all this movie are really cool.
Yeah.
One of the better shot movies we watched.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than most movies, especially ones we watched in a while.
There's a couple shots where they like frame it with like vegetation and stuff. That's I really found that.
Well, it's just so cool to think about how
like mat work in this.
The mat work and how elaborate the sets are, and then also there's not any real people in it. I mean, there's wide shots of the Gelflings that are obviously like children in costumes, but no, man, this is a fucking lot of work to make this movie. All thanks to the success of the Muppet Show.
Jim Henson's a crazy dude.
I don't know if he's crazy. He's just like he knows what he wants to do, and he's able to convince other people, and they're like, yeah, that is what we'll do, and then it works out. He doesn't like his track record. There's not anything bad really. Sesame Street,
all right.
The Muppets.
He had that one before the Muppets Before Sesame Street where like Ralph gets his start, which is just all dogs in like a bar.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't remember the name of it. But
that one like Christmas one about the otters.
Oh yeah.
Edmund Otter, something like that. That one's pretty good. Yeah, I mean he just hasn't done anything bad. And then of course he also like the Jim Henson Creature Shop. They did the Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtle movies.
Star Wars,
yeah, Yoda, Space Pigs. Yeah, so Jim Henson is great. Apparently they filmed this back to back with the Muppets movie. Like they finished making the Muppets movie in LA, had like a couple weeks break, and then they were in England filming this.
Yeah, I think
because he did most of his work in England, anyways.
Yeah, I think the Muppets was filmed in England, wasn't it?
No, they did. You've lost that. Well,
not the movie, the TV show.
Oh yeah, the Muppet Show was filmed in England. Yeah, it only exists because of England. So I guess they helped us out with that one thing. Thanks for that, England. And then thousands of years of other terrible history. Fucking some lord or duke was like the producer that Henson was friends with, and he was the only one that really believed him. He does
put a frog and make him a reporter.
He does seem to be one of those stuffy Anglo types. Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'll give you the money for a show. And then they were planning on like syndication is where they're gonna.
Oh.
So they were just trying to sell it to different studios, and I think it got really popular in England at first, and then
it's time to right the right.
What they did apparently, if I'm recalling this correctly, because I watched the documentary about Jim Henson like a month ago, just randomly. But I believe it was, so they created a really fun environment for the guests, and like so the guests had a really great time, and so they'd tell other people it's great to be on the Muppet Show, so they get bigger guests, and then they would talk about it on other shows about how great it is to be on Muppets, and then so everyone was like, "You fucking Muppets are the best," and then obviously,
fucking Muppets are the best.
Yeah, they just got really good over time. Only 4 seasons though.
I thought it was 5. Was it?
Only 4 seasons, because Jim Henson had bigger ideas. He was going to tell us the kind of like spookiest fairy tale ever. There's like something very... Well, first of all, there's something really uncanny about the Gelflings. Mm-hmm. And I was watching it, and it reminded me of a friend I had in my mid-20s. Her name was Audrey, who was really small and had like kind of fey, ethereal features. And I always used to think, well, she kind of looks like a gelfling, but like didn't really ever talk to her about it because she's like a friend of a friend. I only like saw her at shows or parties or whatever. But she was really cool, really sweet, nice person. The last time I talked to her, she was talking about getting her ears modified so that she'd have elf ears.
And you're like,
and I was like, what?
Turn around and see your dragonfly wings.
What the fuck? So I haven't talked to her since around that time. So Audrey, if anyone knows Audrey, she's probably only about 5 feet tall. She's got elf ears, I'm sure now. So I said, what's up?
Or Vulcan ears. Space elf.
Yeah. But no, she was cool, and I was like, oh, you just had like a little twinge of like nostalgia. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that person that I thought was pretty cool. It's cool, man. But yeah, that's what I mean, like the uncanniness of the Gelflings, where like
there's a little uncanny valley.
Yeah, and especially some of the movements they do, which do seem really like human-like. It's like, okay. And then, man, when the movie first starts, I'm like, I was. Like, oh, can't wait to see these fucking awesome like creature designs and stuff, and then the sexies show up, and I was like, I don't know if I like these guys because they look so messy, you know, like right off the bat. But then you do get to see that they're all dressed in different finery that reflects like
their faces are different,
what their position is, and then when they strip the Chamberlain, and you get to see that they also have like small vestigial arms because they're connected to the mystics. I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. I get it.
I did like the Mystics design a lot, though.
Yeah,
especially when like the wise mystic and the Jen is remembering him playing the harp.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that
the way he's all four arms. The head mystic though, his mentor, didn't tell him shit.
No, he didn't.
Like, Jen would have been a complete failure if he didn't also happen to run into the other one Gelfling in the world who knew everything that Jen needed to know.
Well, it's a poem. It rhymes.
It's just like, man, it's like he's like, I'm on my deathbed now. I only got like 30 seconds. You gotta save the world. I can't believe I never told you this shit before. And Jen's just like, what the fuck? And immediately when he goes on his venture too, he's like, I don't know if I'm ready to do this alone. I have to do this alone.
Well, again, this goes back to my point. Like, the narration and the overdubbing, I think that's not supposed to be there. Strip it away, and the movie still, it makes way more sense.
Yeah, because that was really, like, janky, like, really scuffed. I don't know if I can do this alone. I have to do this alone.
It's not as bad as, like, Game of Thrones, like, literally telling you what you should think about a character, but it's pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah, I guess you can somewhat excuse it that it's for kids, right?
Yeah, that's probably why they dumbed it down. But
yeah, so kids would like it. I believe it was the #1 box office draw in France and Japan in 1982.
Yeah, this seems like a movie France would love.
Guess what, though? It came out the same weekend as E.T. in the United States.
Oops. Man, E.T. is a good movie, too.
Yeah. Remember when he's like, yo, let me get some Reese's Pieces. If I do a remake of...
let me get some of that beer.
Yeah, well, if I do a remake of E.T., he's going to be like a New Jersey Guido type character.
He's going to have like a East Bay Mexican accent.
Yeah, East Bay Mexican accent. Yeah, that super dynamic East Bay Mexican accent. I have friends from there that said fool a lot. Like, sup, fool?
Yo, fool.
But, like, I feel like everyone said that.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's an accent. That's just like a little slang thing. I don't know. Like, people from the East Coast don't know. These bougie upstate New York fucks, they don't know shit about the streets. We talked about it before. Actually, before the podcast, we were talking about how you're just getting kind of exhausted by politics in general.
Yeah, I was telling you how I have not read anything politics in weeks, and I'm back on the fiction train.
Yeah, I'm getting exhausted as well, especially even by like my own compatriots on the far left. Like, they just like...
It's the same shit.
They seem to be like role playing on the internet too, just like the same fucks on the far right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
Where it's like, oh, what? Chucky, motherfucker, you don't listen to punk. Like, you don't actually work like a working class job. You're still in high school or going to school to be an engineer. You haven't read theory. Like, you know what I mean? You're just fucking role playing on the internet, posting memes and shit. Like, I don't fucks with you, man. Are you in a union? Like, damn.
What? There's no unions left.
IWW. You just gotta join it to get you a job.
I was in the union, the food handlers union.
Yeah, I was too. But Arizona, specifically doesn't have very many unions. Which I get, but I don't think everyone role playing on the internet as the far left lives in Arizona. So.
Even if I don't know, it's this whole different ball game, but it's the same shit everybody else goes through. They know no one actually takes any time to read or think about the implications of what they're saying or doing, but they feel like this is the right thing to say and do at this moment, and so they're out there yelling about it.
I guess I don't even think it's that complex. I think it's just like chumps on the internet. Like, alright, I'm committed to this belief now. This is my team.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's basically team sports, but someone has picked a team.
And it's mostly just like the memes aren't that good. Everyone's just regurgitating the same shit.
Yeah, they're still better than like the right wing memes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm just it's the far left, the infighting that everyone always complains about. And like I don't have any problem with you, even if you support Mao for some reason. I mean, killing landlords seems like a good idea, but that's kind of the end of the list. But it's just like, man, you're not that cool playing on the internet. You don't even listen to Leftover Crack or some shit.
Crack kills.
Yeah. I guess that'll be my political cultural complaint for the week. There's definitely gonna be more. Let's see more. What other quotes?
Actually, I would like to know how we got on this subject from Dark Crystal. I don't remember. It'll be great going back to listen to this episode.
Yeah. Shit's popping off, you know? Oh, because we were making fun of the Chapo Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's my fault.
East Bay mixed connection. And I don't even specifically have a problem with him. I know I just did like a belittling imitation of his speech impediment, but I don't know, it's just like that one thing. It's just, I don't know, it just seems so out of touch. Like it seemed like something like your fucking like boomer uncle or Joe Biden would say or some shit. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? Speaking of boomers, that's kind of what the Dark Crystal is about, right? It's like the world's dying. And there's these two groups of old fucks
that fucked everything up.
That messed everything up, and they're all connected, but separated. And the way to save the world is to kill them all, turn them all into unified ghosts. Right? Because it seems like they're supposed to be... Well, because a sexy gets killed, and then the mystic disappears.
Right. At the very beginning, the Emperor dies, and
they're
the
connected,
dies.
So they're like... I guess because of the crystal, they'd be refractories of each other, is the implication, which is interesting. Very high concept for a kids movie, especially. Apparently, Jim Henson originally wanted to call it the Dark Krystalz, and the lead art designer guy Frown, misheard him on their telephone conversation, and then he had all this concept art for like crystals and stuff. and then Jim
Henson's like, all right, fucking crystals.
He's like, oh, it looks pretty good. We'll go with it. And like that was that. There's only 10 mystics and 10 sexies left alive in the beginning. The emperor or the leaders of both groups die together. There's 9 left, and only one Gelfling. Right? Supposedly
he's the last of the Gelfling.
And there's also podlings.
There's a bunch of other, races and peoples that populate the world, is my guess.
Yeah.
There's a novelization of this I've never read, and they made a sequel that's on Netflix, I think.
Oh yes, I saw that. It's like the Age of Resistance or something. Yeah. I think it's a prequel, actually.
Oh, is it a prequel?
Yeah. The world doesn't seem worth saving, or I mean the civilizations we interact with, or the cultures. The humanoid ones, like... You
don't like the pod people?
The podlings seem fine. They know how to party. They're obviously like, oh, check out these indigenous people that know how to have a good time. And then end up enslaved. Which is...
That's the point, right? Yeah. You're trying to stop the sexies from being dicks to everybody.
Yeah, but, I mean... It seems like the world that they live on, it's like, well, civilization kind of barely exists anyways. They could all die out and then just let the animals party. The podlings could, like, hang out, too. But, like, there was, like, no sadness. Like, the mystics and the sexies, get the fuck out of here. And then, when Kira died, though, I was kind of like, oh, damn, that's it for the Gelflings. But they seem completely asexual anyways.
They have a real genetic bottleneck here, so I feel like it's probably it for the Gelflings no matter what, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. That one scene, though, where Kira reveals her wings.
It's pretty funny.
And
at the end, when
he's like, well, I don't have wings. She's like, of course not. You're a boy. And I was like, oh man, fucking raw deal.
She's like, boys have a penis, girls have dragonfly wings.
We got wings. I'd be pissed if like,
yeah, me too.
Like, oh, you got wings? Oh, okay. We'd definitely be the oppressed class in that situation.
No shit.
You guys can't fly, so you're getting paid less. What a crazy mixed up world it would be
That's not fair.
if there wasn't complete patriarchal dominance. But I mean, that's wings would give you quite an advantage in everything, every aspect of society. Wings would help you.
Banking, wings.
Mm-hmm. Man, just think about like all the different styles of like different ways to style your wings there would be and stuff. That's cool.
Is there? Don't they just kind of lay there? Can't do anything.
Well, I don't know. Like maybe, well, yeah, but like maybe you can like dye them, and you know, like I don't know. It's like, man, so many cool things you can do with wings. Yeah.
Speaking of wings, I've been reading Fire and Blood, which is that fake history of the Targaryens in the Song of Fire and Ice.
The totally real history of the Targaryens.
Yeah, you're sorry, correct.
Is it just Targaryens, or is it just the Dragon Peoples, Valyrians, or is it specifically Targaryen?
It's specifically Targaryens in Westeros. So basically, starts with
King's Landing.
Aegon the Conqueror. Yeah.
When he lands, the king lands.
When the king lands.
But they arrive at Dragonstone, don't they?
Yeah, so the story for the Targaryens is like, I don't know, like a decade or so before the doom of Valyria.
Yeah, one of them has a vision, right?
Yeah, one of them has a vision. One of the daughters has a vision, and the dad's like, all right, well, we're selling our shit, and they buy Dragonstone.
Yeah, she's like, she hasn't been wrong before, so let's skedaddle. And we'll go.
What I was getting at is there's a part where like King's Landing is like an uproar, and like, we're gonna kill all the fucking dragons, and so like 10,000 people attack the dragons in the dragon pit. And they managed to kill the dragons after, half of them die. And they consider themselves great dragon slayers, so they cut off the dragon's wings and use them as capes.
Awesome. That's so cool. That's like my favorite like bit of lore, or one of my favorite bits of lore in Song of Ice and Fire, or that world concept, is the Stark bastard who makes ironwood,
the Weirwood bow,
Weirwood arrows, because he's like, I kill dragon with this shit. It's like, hell yeah, man, that's badass.
I was thinking of is like when I was reading this is like the Weirdwood in Westeros is very similar to the idea of like the warlocks and their black trees and the wine they drink, like, because the wine is from those trees, right? Mm-hmm. And like the Weirdwood paste that Bran eats is from Weirwood trees, right? And they both give visions.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you read the World of Ice and Fire, his other history book,
I'm reading next, I think.
he does make like mystical connections between different cultures. Like the sea stone chair is made of the same like oily black material that also is like a the Shadow City. There's the equivalent of the Wall in the Far East too, but it's like a series of castles, but they're kind of in disrepair, like the Wall. And I don't know. There's a bunch of little connections that make it seem like the others are a worldwide problem, and there's magic that is deeply cultural that transcends across the entire planet.
Right, it's like more of a...
Like there's some sort of depth to the world, if you will.
I posted this on Twitter, I think I texted you, but like one of the big thing that really annoyed me when I read it is we talked about Game of Thrones and how we didn't think that the others were going to get a dragon. It's made pretty clear in this that dragons will not fly north of the Wall. Either they can't or they won't. And so I'm pretty sure that, Dany, they're not going to go on a mission to get a zombie to show Cersei. That's not going to happen in the fucking books.
I don't think that's just going to happen in the books because it's dumb as fuck.
and Dany's not going to show up at the last minute on a dragon because her dragons won't go north of the Wall.
I remember when that episode came out, I was like a little bit excited about it because this is
the last time we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but it's just anytime I watch that show, I'm so desperate for like something interesting to happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, whatever. At least like fucking, I'm sure like the Night King will show up and do spooky stuff. At least they're good at doing wide shots of him raising his arms spookily. And then
looking out, intimidating at people.
I think I might have already known spoilers for it going into because free folk, that he was gonna get a dragon, but it was just like, man, this shit's stupid. And also, like, I think I said before, it really bothers me when the dragons die in the show, just because, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a pet thing. It bothers me when the dragons die.
So
it bothers me when the wolves die.
When he stabs Viserion, and he, like, all the other dragons are like, what the fuck? And Danny's like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh no. Poor dude. And then he crashes into the ice and looks all sad and just, like, sinks into it. I was like, man, son of a bitch, someone's got to get that Night King. So, if they just cast the entire show with dragons, I guess I would have an emotional attachment to the character. Because, yeah, for a minute I was in it. I was like, they got to stop that, man. And then after that, I was like, no, fucking kill them all, Night King. So, I mean, I'm tired of them fighting CG cartoon skeletons all the time, so someone's got to go. Yeah, let's never talk about Game of Thrones again. We talk about A Song of Ice and Fire. Again, I'm sure that'll
I'm
come
not
out.
talking about the show anymore.
But yeah.
If you want to see what our thoughts were on the finale, it's on our YouTube channel. I was going to tack it to the last podcast, but I don't have the heart. And we really didn't... I thought we would at least like lambast it more when we talked about it, but we really clearly just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, it was... when I was watching the last episode, it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whatever you say.
That's fine.
Yep, that's fine too. Yeah, Braun's on a small council. Yeah, sure,
whatever.
That makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, Sir Davos doesn't remember that Braun kills one of his kids? No.
All your favorites are here.
I do like that the Davos made it.
Yeah, I think
person the entire show.
I think Davos is probably gonna make it through the series anyways. That's kind of like been his gimmick, like kind of like tongue in cheek. Like he just survives shit. Yeah, I just love when they're like, for some reason, Grey Worm took him prisoner. Because why didn't they film a scene where Jon Snow walked out of the Red Keep and was like, I killed my queen, arrest me.
Well, because you know what's supposed to happen doesn't Dany have blood riders?
Yeah, they should kill him.
They should have killed her or killed Jon and then killed themselves. That's what their fucking job is.
I don't know. That sounds like some shit a nerd wrote in a book. This is prestige television, all right?
Themes are for 8th grade book reports.
This is
the merc with the mouth. He should sew his mouth shut.
Yeah, this is prestige television, all right? We're just here making that money. It's got to be sexy.
They're making the Knights of the Old Republic. That's their Star Wars.
Oh, is it for sure going to be KOTOR?
I don't think it's for sure KOTOR, but it's for sure the
Old Republic era. Whatever, man. I don't know. Star Wars is just like it's so bland to me, anyways. Like it seems like you could do so much with that world, but no one ever does. So, they'll probably make their Old Republic trilogy, but then it'll just be here's the Luke Skywalker proxy, here's the Han Solo proxy, here's Leia, and here's a new Monster Man or a robot. That's the Chewbacca. You know what I mean? And like fucking buy more of our merchandise, please. Yeah, fuck Disney, fuck HBO, fuck AT&T, Warner Brothers. No one sponsored this podcast ever.
You can find our Patreon.
Jim Henson can sponsor us. He's real creative.
I got some bad news.
What? What is it?
He had a really bad headache and didn't make it.
Oh no, Jim Henson's not out there. That explains why the movie industry is so garbage. Because no one's got it. They're not. Everyone's afraid. No one would make a crazy ass puppet movie like this.
The Dark Crystal will not get made these days.
Fucking dumb.
Put it on Netflix.
I guess they made the prequel, right?
Yeah.
But is it actually still puppetry?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I mean, it can't be as weird as this movie either. There's no way.
The funny thing is, like this movie, if you make it the same way and then just add CGI touch up, it looks so pretty.
I feel like that's such a disservice to it, though. If you touched it up with CG.
I mean, just a little bit here and there, I guess.
Never. Never.
Fair enough. You're right. You're right. No, I take it back.
Yeah, I haven't watched the prequel series. I don't know if it's still puppetry, but based on how everything's such distilled nostalgia now, even when they remake or prequel to some other property, like there's no way.
Blade Runner 2049.
No, not that. Because I mean, that was they got people that actually wanted to do it, and they put consideration into what the alternative past future would, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But a fucking cheaply produced Netflix series prequel to the Dark Crystal, like I'm sure it's just like Oh, it's probably characters telling you their motivations, yelling them at you, and the monsters aren't as spooky. I'm sure the designs are more simple and childlike, and that's the thing. Henson said he wanted this movie to be like the old Grimm's fairy tales. He said thought it was important for kids to be a little bit scared. Like that's a healthy emotion to have, and it works really well with fairy tales. So they're like, this movie's odd. It's a little bit scary. Like I thought it was spooky when I was a kid. But there's no way that that's what the prequel series on Netflix is doing. Like I can't say for sure because I haven't seen it. But like, unless they're only trying to get like 35-year-old men like us to watch it, there's no way. I'm sure it's all safe and distilled and.
I'll find out for you because Jamie actually really. I watched it with all three of the kids, but Jamie really liked it, and to the point where when I watched it again to make notes, he watched it with me a second time. So I'll probably end up watching a Netflix show at some point in the next couple
Interesting.
weeks.
I'm surprised because it's kind of slow and meditative.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the one that watches. Nature documentaries.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
him and the dog sitting on the couch watching wolves.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess because if you watch nature documentary, especially if it's the good ones from,
it's always like
English ones. Yeah,
David Attenborough's narrating them.
Not like the top 10 deadliest spiders in Australia, number 1.
It's like Planet Earth and that shit.
Blue Planet and stuff. Yeah. So those are like slow and meditative. That makes sense. Like when he gets older, he can watch Samsara. Which is, I guess you could probably watch it now. I don't think there's anything scary in it really. It's just a documentary they filmed over like decades where they go. It's like a nature documentary but with people, so it's like different cultures, and it's just shot really well, and the music's great, and you're just kind of like, wow, that was beautiful. And then at the very end, Margaret Thatcher comes in and she says we must destroy all these people.
Oh god. Well, that's like
I got tricked.
I forget the Netflix one that just came out with David Attenborough is narrating it, and it leans heavily on climate change. So like the episode will be like, and this animal works together in this environment, and this happens, and then across the world this is happening because of what's happening over here, and then climate change is destroying all of that.
Climate change is killing every animal you love, kids. Get out in the streets.
Yeah, well.
I mean, yeah, what else? Yeah, probably. That's the thing.
I mean, meanwhile, people can't stop eating Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing about climate change is, I guess not interesting. It's more just...
That's the scary thing about climate change.
Yeah, but there are people that are just getting so fed up. Like, fucking it's happening right now. We see it happening all the time. Like, fucking do something. And then everyone's like, no, I'd prefer to make more money.
You've seen that, like, newspaper comic, little cartoon. Like, for one great moment, we created a lot of wealth for our investors.
Yeah, but it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, we've been... I don't know. I'm not sure if I ascribe to the theory of there being grand narratives, like, within human society and history and stuff, but it does seem like at least the last 150 years or so, we've been, like, fucking just driving towards the cliff. Like, we didn't know it at first, because the cliff was too far away. But we just sped up and got faster and faster. And like,
is that a cliff up there?
Oh, well. No turning back now.
Hit it, Thelma.
Yeah, there's just a bag of money that's floating, like, off of the cliff. And it's like, we just got to get fast enough so we can get that bag of money.
We'll be right to the other side of the cliff.
Yeah, somehow we're going to do it. Joe Biden will show us the way. Another episode where we're not really talking about the plot. But, I mean, it's your standard adventure story. He's just got to save the world that he's completely unprepared for.
It's a crazy world.
Well, because
it's a mad, mixed-up world out there.
He called him, like, his master and his mentor and stuff. But it just seemed like he raised him.
Well, they did the memory thing.
Yeah, and he potentially taught him to play the pipes, which seemed to have some connection to the tone of the crystal, right? Because that's how he finds the right shard.
Purple. Lights up.
Oh, first thing he's got to do is he's got to go meet Ogra. The most interesting character in the movie. It's crazy when she like squats down, she's just like, because she's so old. And then it's great because it's just in that one scene, right? At first, and you're like, oh, this is a nice little interesting touch. And then she does it later, like when she gets taken to the sexies, and it's like, oh yeah, that's just a character trait now. That's pretty cool. She's just like, oh, I'm fucking bad. The Dark Crystal, they have a shard of it, down lower that they use to suck the life force out of beings.
Yeah, the essence.
And how did they design that apparatus?
Magic, Kyle. I don't think you need to know.
Well, that one sexy seems like he's more of a science man.
Well, they each have the role. Like, the general became the new emperor, and then the Chamberlain got banished, and then there's like a science man.
I guess he's more like an alchemist, so it's like science, but also it's magic. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, the podling essence will make you young, but it only does it for like a minute. And he's like, shit, worked a lot better with Gelfling. Shouldn't have killed them all, because you like, if you would have kept breeding them in captivity.
Well, then you can't have Gelflings around because they're gonna kill you.
Yeah, because of the prophecy. Right. Yeah, it's very Greek.
Wow, what?
Yeah,
Greek.
You know how it's always like, hey, Kronos, one day your son's gonna kill you, overthrow you, and kill you. And Kronos, I'll just get rid of him. And then that's what causes Zeus to become so awesome that he can defeat Kronos.
I'm fairly certain prophecies don't mean anything. Even your reactions to the prophecy have no effect on it. That's what I learned from a TV show that I'm not going to mention anymore.
Mm-hmm. I guess the prophecy in this story kind of works out the same way anyways, because it's basically because they've pushed Gelfling so far to the edge that there is just this one left.
Right.
Who had to be raised by the mystics and trained and told this information so that he would eventually end up accomplishing it. So those damn sexies fucked up. They seem like they had it all together. They're just really great at bureaucracy and slavery and
it's all the great things that keep an empire going.
Yeah, I just can't believe it happened. Luckily, that'll never happen to us, the United States. Oh, I watched Us finally.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was great. They made Santa Cruz sufficiently spooky. You know, like how Santa Cruz at night
is a little spooky?
A little spooky. You know, it feels like a powerful place. Like the place has got power. You know, like you don't quite fathom it, but it's got power.
Say power.
They got power.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know, like there's a lot of weirdos in Santa Cruz, and the ocean, like being by the ocean and seeing storms in the ocean is just kind of like, you know,
nope.
It's all in there. They do a great job. Santa Cruz, star of the show, except for, I mean, it's Lupita Nyong'o is really the star of the show, and she does a great job. I loved it. It looked much better than Get Out, which I predicted last time I talked about it. Yeah, because he had more money and time to actually do what he wanted to. Not quite as good as Get Out, you know, obviously. Not as
tight.
Not quite as tight. Yeah, because I don't think he'd been writing the script for Get Out for like a decade. And Us, he might have had this script for a while, but didn't do. I don't know what his writing process is, but yeah, it wasn't quite as tight. Also, the political allegory wasn't as obvious, so I don't think people realized it was about the class struggle so much. And also, people don't seem to like to talk about that publicly because it seems to be really threatening to the status quo. I don't think it was a bad allegory for like the class divisions exactly, but it wasn't explicit enough for a mainstream audience, I guess.
You saying that they need to be hit over the head with it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, because Get Out was really like fucking in your face and broad, like, you know what I mean? This is
not as obvious.
No, this is much more subtle. But man, it's shot so well. I love it. There's a scene where they're because there's a recurring theme of 11/11, you know, because of the mirror. But there's an overhead shot of them on the beach, and their shadows are extended out, making 11/11 the family. It's just like, man, it's fucking dope. It's just I don't know. Anytime I watch a movie that like has like dynamic visual language, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why movies are cool. And I feel like it just doesn't happen very often anymore. So.
What are you talking about? Avengers.
Yeah, I like the part where the cartoons were on a cartoon background and they ran into other cartoons. I know you can't. If you tried to film like a straight up live action practical Avengers, it's gonna look wild as shit. But that's why you just don't make those movies. Just make an animated film instead. If it's gonna be like 90% animated, anyways. But I love when the greatest CG character of all time says memes that the kids like. You know, Gollum still seems more real than Thanos. You know, is because I feel like CG does not seem to have advanced very far since Lord of the Rings.
No, I don't know really. It's very very small incremental changes.
And Gollum seems to be more in the scenery, in the environment, and Thanos, in as good as they did animating him and his characterization, yeah, he's a great cartoon character, but he just doesn't. He still just looks like he's not actually there. You know what I mean?
I had to go back and see it, but it seemed fine to me. I mean, I go agree that Gollum is better, but
yeah. I don't know. You can't imagine like Thanos like walking down the street or being in like a real human environment,
riding in a helicopter. Or
yeah. I just got to be on
sitting in an armchair.
I got to be out in
Dark
space.
Side style.
Well, remember at the end of the first Avengers when they show him and he's riding his like space throne on an asteroid. It looks kind of stupid. I mean, obviously the character design got better and stuff like that, but like he doesn't seem real enough that he can be in any semblance of a normal environment. He's always just got to be in space with the other cartoon background and stuff.
Well, the only time we really see him not in like a crazy background is at the very end of Infinity War when he's out at Wakanda. I don't remember him seeing super out of place there.
Yeah, and they even got the lighting right on him. I don't know what my complaint is then. I don't know. There's something about them Marvel movies that I just like.
I give them nothing.
Well, I just like every time I watch them, I'm just like, I don't feel shit. Nothing. No excitement, no thrills, nothing. Fucking the final act of the Dark Crystal, where it's just a bunch of puppets like kind of moving around, it was more thrilling to me than the end of Endgame.
Well, Dark Crystal's a thrilling movie.
Yeah, so the end of the movie, first of all, this man, this gelfling, this embarrassment, he jumps onto the Dark Crystal because he's got to stab the shard into it. He just drops the shard. Like, come on, man. Just like, hang on to it. Just come on. And of course that gets Kira killed because she's like, no, the shard. And he's like, just give it to him. Fuck the earth. He's ready to give up all the time too.
Yes.
What is it? So these 80 movies with like the fantasy heroes and stuff, they're always just like not. They
They're
have
always like the worst version of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, they just have like no commitment to anything. Like, no, it's too much. I don't even care anymore about it. Because there's a scene too. He's like, man, fuck this shard, fuck the crystal, I'm done. Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, that's a good thing Kira showed up because like, she saved the Earth, not Jen. He was just like, no, I don't even care.
Well, that's they said a Gelfling would save the Earth. They didn't say it was gonna be Jen.
Should have made Kira main character. She had wings and everything, winglings. I don't know. My big thing is just they would never make a movie like this again, and that's kind of disappointing. Someone tried to make an adult comedy with Muppets like a year ago. Remember, like the Happy Town
Such a
Murders
cool
one?
idea that they wrote like shit.
They should have taken it seriously and made like a detective murder mystery with puppets or Muppets rather. Not like serious to the point where it falls over the edge and becomes like comical again, but like these puppets say shit and they do farts.
Yeah, I was looking for like a satire, not a parody.
What? Yeah, it's just so open, broad parody. Like, yeah, this is the real edgy stuff. It's gonna be like kid stuff, and they're gonna say "F you." Yeah, that's real good. That's some real shit, huh? I'm impressed. That's the height of comedy for me. Like, whoa, isn't this so anachronistic? It's a Muppet, and you see his dick.
He's having sex with another Muppet. He's making sex jokes. Muppet sex jokes, guys.
Wow. And that's why Deadpool sucks.
Especially Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 sucked.
Yeah, I like that they got the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People in it, though. Because they were like, they probably saw Hunt for the Wilder People and like, oh, that kid was pretty funny, let's put him in it.
I'm the goddamn juggernaut, bitch. I've received more red cards than anyone, bitch.
Vinny Jones, bitch. No, he was the CJ butt cheeks man. Remember when you see his butt cheeks? See the Juggernaut's butt cheeks?
That's what my joke, butt cheeks, bitch.
Yeah, man, what a movie.
I'm really excited for Dark Phoenix.
Oh, I keep forgetting that shit's coming out. You know what's interesting is
that I haven't seen an X-Men movie since First Class.
Oh, you didn't see Days of Future Past?
Nope.
I did. It was pretty good. I regret saying it's pretty good though, because noted pedophile and sex predator Bryan Singer directed it. So remember when they tried to distance themselves from him having directed Bohemian Rhapsody, and then he disappeared because there was probably like a federal investigation coming after him. That shit was awesome.
Where is he now?
I don't know. Probably like in Toronto, the Hollywood of the North. And I'm guessing drugging young gay men and assaulting them. Hooray. You know, like Hooray. A serial killer. Hooray. What a great art. And he created so much good art, so we should forgive him, right?
Oh, okay.
Like Roman Polanski.
I mean, motherfucker. I mean, Roman Polanski made The Pianist. Like, I guess that's at least.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby.
Oh yeah, well, Chinatown for sure.
We're gonna remember Polanski for.
I was just thinking more recent, but fair enough.
But I was talking. Bryan Singer ain't done shit, man. Yeah. He made some goofy superhero movies.
I would prefer both of them were Jetson.
Oh, space, and Usual Suspects. That's what launched his career, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, who was in that one?
Benicio del Toro.
And the Spaceman.
Spaceman?
Kevin Spacey.
Oh, Kevin Spacey. Whoa!
Yeah, brother, you got that connection, didn't you?
Oh, man, they were probably, like, high-fiving, double-teaming, like, sharing tips and tricks, techniques. Like, yeah, this is how I get him to come back to my limousine.
He's like, oh, yeah, I've never tried that one. Have you tried this one?
He's like, well, Brian, you're going to see. Once you get that Hollywood money, it's going to be a lot easier, buddy. Don't you worry. I'm going to take you under my wing. And then Kevin Spacey sexually assaulted Bryan Singer.
So you're saying that we should feel bad for Bryan Singer now?
No. I mean, that's just what happens when you're a predator. Sometimes maybe you'll get predators.
I'm pretty sure I saw that in one of those Predator movies when he got predated.
I mean, it's in all the pop culture about prison, so. Yeah.
I don't feel so good about it anymore.
Man, I kind of have mixed feelings as opposed to prison justice on like pedophiles and stuff. I'm kind of like,
yeah, pedophiles are different.
Maybe just let them kill them. Like any sexual predator.
I guess.
Like maybe let it kill them. I don't know. I don't know if we need them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we need them. But I mean, I'm also pro-choice, so I just love killing people. As soon as we start to get popular, we're gonna have to delete all these old podcasts. No, I was gonna say we'd do like donation streams to help with abortion rights. That way we can be like, yeah, we're gonna offset the, we're gonna change climate change, help out with climate change by getting rid of all these extra kids. Some dark shit. Dark Crystal, Jameson liked it. Jim. Did you like it?
I liked it. I had problems with it. Cut the narration and
We didn't talk about it too much again. I don't know what this podcast is about anymore.
We talked about it a lot. Yeah. You cut all the chewing on your Starbucks.
Yeah, especially because you mentioned that brand name now. Starbucks wants to get name dropped. They got to give us money. Next, we shall watch Chopping Mall, which is going to be... Probably, I don't think you can watch it with your kids, this one.
With a name like Chopping Mall.
Well, it's like, I don't know, it's probably got like boobs in it. But I don't think it's like anything too crazy. It's like that cheesy 80s gore. So it's kind of like cute. Well, remember like in Night of Creeps when the zombie guy shows up with the flower, like a rose?
Yeah, that's
and then like
cute,
the slug falls out of him. Like the gore effects are just like so... campy that it's like almost like cute. You're just like, yeah, good stuff. Oh man, there was some shit I want to talk about, but I saw someone on Reddit. Just a genius, a cultural genius. He made he did his own variation of Nazi punks fuck off. You know, the classic Dead Kennedys logo iconography. It's Antifa punks fuck off. That makes a lot of sense, right?
What?
So the Dead Kennedys wrote a song that was Nazi punks fuck off. So an anti-fascist song. But because Antifa, the anti-fascists, are the real fascists, we have to tell them to fuck off. Nazis are good?
Is Antifa... are they the real fascists? I kind of feel like they aren't the real fascists.
Well, I don't. I mean, it's hard to know.
I feel like the real fascists are still the
Nazis?
fascists.
Yeah, it's usually just the fascists, right? It's hard to know in this day and age though, because I just can't. I think about trying to get into that mind space where, like,
what mind space?
Everything I believe is completely disparaged by this band I really like. The band must be wrong, or this entire cultural movement of the '80s.
Are you describing Paul Ryan and Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah, yeah, that shit's funny too. I just it just gets me pumped for my workouts.
Or are you describing Chris Christie and Bruce Springsteen?
Oh shit! You know what it is? I think the conservatives or people on the right are incapable of creating their own culture. So they're just
stealing mine?
Yeah, they just steal other cultural movements and reappropriate them and just turn them into just total garbage. Just embarrassing shit. Like, just real, like, oh, I've got, my brain's melted. I don't even know anymore. Like, I don't know what to believe. Everything that I'm inundated daily with everything telling me I'm wrong.
So they must be wrong.
So they're totally wrong, and I'll just reappropriate their symbols. Awesome. Fucking great. Oh, speaking of reappropriation, though, I've noticed that a lot of the women I'm attracted to, the punk style girls, septum piercings, face tattoos, baby doll bangs, cool shit like that.
Face tattoos. I mean, face tattoos aren't attractive in my opinion.
Well, I mean, not
anybody.
Not like your whole face, but, just small little ones.
Nope.
Oh, whatever. Everyone's entitled to their own personal taste. But basically, that real far left, radical, old school shit that I'm really into, my preferred aesthetic. I've noticed lately that it's been adopted by a lot of lesbians, bisexuals, gender fluid people, non-binaries, all this blah,
I feel
blah,
like it's
blah.
going in a weird spot.
Well, here's what I have to say. I fucking love it. It's great. I support you guys. I hope you all find really good partners and you have nice, enjoyable lives. You look great. It's wonderful. It's good shit. Do what you want. But do what you want with the caveat. You gotta kill cops and turn them into chorizo. I'm on that. I'm still all about that. That's just how it's gotta be. Space Force. Check out Chopping Mall, McVentureProductions.com.
Yeah, we're really bad about plugging ourselves.
I don't know. It's like the website. We got
YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and whatever.
Twitch. I don't know. Check it out. We're trying to get popular. I don't know if it's gonna work with my
tell your friends.
My incendiary opinions about things like people being good. But that's life. You only Space Force once.